Hello everyone, thanks for coming outside with me today. Today we're taking a step off the beaten path, at least for my channel anyway, and we're going to go ahead and do a boot review. So I do not like to tell you to buy a product or to review a product fully until I've really actually had a chance to test it. And I have been testing this boot all of archery season, rifle season, late season, and then just general mucking around the house, doing yard work, blowing snow, so on and so forth. And I have been incredibly impressed with this boot from HISEA? HISEA? I don't know, but it's been fantastic, and it's easily half the price of a muck boot, which is what I currently own. So full disclosure, HISEA sent these out to me right around the end of September, right before archery season started, and then a week or two later, I shot my first deer right out of the tree with this boot, and then I've been doing everything with it since. So I didn't pay for these, but I'll tell you what, if I had, I would not be disappointed at all, and quite frankly, we ended up going and getting boots for my wife as well, because that's just exceptional build quality here, as well as the actual form fit compared to a muck boot, which I currently use right now is the Woody Max from Muck. So I want to kind of do a compare and contrast and why I've actually been enjoying this boot a lot more, at least for my foot and leg style, and what I really use my neoprene style boots for. So let's back up and talk about my current neoprene rubber style boot, which is the Woody Max from Muck. I bought these brand new from my local sporting goods store here, mom and pop deal, for about 150, 160 bucks, and they have been a really good boot. I did review actually, and I'll throw that link down in the description below if you're interested in just this particular boot. Not the best video in the world, but at least it's there. Fantastic boot. I've done a lot of deer hunts and turkey hunts with this boot on my feet, and I put a lot of miles into this. Now, this boot, as you can see, I mean, it's just built rugged. This is a much harder rubber, and the neoprene is definitely well glued into the seams, the sole, and everything. It's a very firm boot, which makes it really nice for those wet, muddy mornings in turkey season. You can get a lot of grip and a lot of support, but in the cold season, it just saps the life right out of your foot and out of your ankle because this rubber gets incredibly stiff in the cold. It already starts out, I mean, look how stiff it already starts out. And then when you throw your foot in there and it's 10 degrees outside, it doesn't make it any better. Also on the inside, the ankle portion is very wide. Now I have a very thin foot and a very thin leg, right? I basically am a giraffe in a human body. And so I have a lot of problems with my ankle and my foot moving in all this area. Now these boots, like I said, are the Woody Max. They're meant to have a thick sock put on the inside because they intend for you to use them in cold weather. And that's fine. And I will use them in the warm season, in turkey season a lot, just because everything's just so damp and green and everything. But in that times when it gets too hot and I'm wearing a thinner sock, I get no ankle support, my foot's flopping around in here, I get the blisters, and it's just uncomfortable after a certain period of time. Flip over to the HISEA boot, and this is a much softer, it's a much softer rubber, and actually you can see from just kind of going up and kicking my feet around and climbing up trees and stuff, I've actually left some rubber, almost like tire skid marks on the road on the top part of this boot from kicking it and climbing up and down a tree using climbing sticks and just mucking around the woods in general. But this is a much softer, and it smells, I know it sounds weird, but it smells like a more tire rubber than the hard rubber of a muck boot when this came out. Now the smell has long since dissipated. That didn't take more than a week or two of wearing it around to get rid of that, but this is, I mean, look how much more flexible this whole system is in around the ankle, which is nice when it's cold, because then when it stiffens up, it actually conforms to your ankle. It's a lot smaller on the inside than my muck boot is. Now again, I have a very thin foot and ankle, so that isn't probably, if you're a little bit on the thicker side, you have much bigger calves, bigger legs, that'll help you. It won't be as nearly as a benefit as it is for me, but it's very comfortable. But the biggest thing with that hard rubber is the bottom. So the grip of both of these boots is actually really well done. You don't have like that waffle grid that just gets caked full of mud and goop and all that sort of stuff. These clean out very nicely, but since the HISEA is a much softer rubber, this actually bites very well in snowy conditions. It's really like a snow tire on your vehicle in snowy conditions. Since it doesn't get hard like a regular tire does, an all-season tire, it grips icy conditions so much better, and it just handles those cold weather conditions, which is quite frankly what I do the vast majority of my deer hunting in. It made it really nice going up and down the tree on my climbing sticks, very quiet and very grippy. Now I'll see what it looks like in the spring when it probably gets a little too soft and I start getting mud and all sorts of other gunk in the bottom here. But I'll tell you what, so far for the cold weather, I've absolutely really enjoyed it. And you might think, okay, are they both insulated the same? No, and the weight is just purely indicative of that. Now, I'm not going to break out a scale, but just take my word for it. This Woody Max is built beefy with heavy insulation, and this HISEA is not. However, in my muck review, where I actually talked about how my feet actually went in such an insulated rubber boot, they got cold. I mean, they just froze out. And like I said, I have long legs. It takes a long time for that blood to get down to my toes. I get my feet cold pretty quick. So I would do things like wear an IWAM or the Arctic Shield boot insulators. Those work really, really well and have kept me better on stand. But this boot is no better than this boot in terms of keeping me warm in those conditions. It's just the same if I put those Arctic Shield boot covers on. So I might as well just use these because they're lighter, they're more comfortable to climb up and down the tree, they grip better, and they're half the price. These things are around the $70 range, the high or low 60s to mid $70 range, and those Woody Max are easily $160 in today's money. And if you want to go with the Arctic Pros, you're pushing $200. So I would much rather spend a smaller amount of money on again, well built. I mean, I put these things through the ringer this year. Usually I only get a year or two out of a really hard worked on pair of these cheaper style boots. These things are easily going to go through turkey season and definitely all through fishing in the summer. So I haven't had any leaks, I haven't had anything blow out, all of my seams have stayed well glued down, so on and so forth. But the nice thing is HISEA will give you a 1-year no questions asked warranty. So as long as you don't chop it off with a chainsaw, you can actually just send your boot back in and they'll either repair it or replace it. And then they actually, at least on their website, claim a lifetime warranty except for normal wear and tear. But you know, if I'm just using this and it's like a year, you know, a little after a year, and this whole side blows out when I'm just walking around, I'd be interested to see if they would be willing to cover that under their lifetime warranty. I imagine so. They've been a fantastic company to purchase from and getting stuff from with my wife's stuff, and then also getting my boots as well. I've been really impressed, so I'm kind of hoping that they would stand by their warranty because these are a really well-built boot, even though the cost is so much lower than some of the other competitors like Muck and Lacrosse. All right, so what are some of the things I don't like about them compared to my Muck boots? Well, the number one thing, like I said, is the form fitting in the ankle and the foot is really nice, but up in the calf leg area, it is not. And you'll see that when I kind of compress this out, it's more of a V, it's more of a bell shape. And whereas the Muck boot itself actually comes back in, you see how it kind of curls back in to hug your calf. Like I said, I have really thin legs and I have like almost no calf muscles. Looks like I'm riding a chicken when I'm wearing shorts. And so when I have this bell, when I put my leg in here, it does this. And it flops back and forth every time I walk. Now, if I'm wearing a thick pair of pants or I've got bibs on over top to kind of hold it in place, it's not a big deal whatsoever. But we'll see in turkey season when I start putting some serious miles on, because the opening of this thing is just enormous. It allows you to get your foot in and out a lot easier than this really tall Muck boot. But since that bell shape, it flops around a lot. And it's kind of reminiscent when we all wore those cheap rubber boots as kids, splashing in puddles, and we get that red ring around our calf from not wearing tall enough socks and having this slap back and forth. Now, it's very comfortable. There's no weird edge here or rough edge to dig into your leg, but it is annoying after a while. So we'll see how that pans out in turkey season. Also, this compared to the Muck boot is a lot taller by actually 2.5 inches. So that puts this boot just not ability to cross certain areas that I like to cross. So there are certain lakes and rivers and streams, mostly the rivers and streams part, around my house and in certain hunting swampy areas that I enjoy here on the PA public lands. And this boot is just short enough. It's just short enough that you can get some water in here. Because of that large opening, you'll get crap that'll fall into here if you don't cover it up with your pants, which I don't like to do. I like to tuck my pants inside my boot so that way I don't have moisture getting wicked up from the pants, you know, using capillary action. We'll go back to science class here. Using capillary action and soaking up the rest of my leg. I like to tuck my pants in, which means I get snow and leaves. I've come home from many hunts and just pick stuff out of my pants and pick stuff out of the inside of the neoprene of these boots. Now, it is nice that they are felt lined on the inside. The problem is here is they don't really fold down. So like, because that bell shape, it's a real big pain in the butt to fold this down compared to a Muck boot. The Muck boot is designed, you can actually see from the rings that I have here. When I go to put this on a boot dryer, this folds down and is just really malleable, as you can see here. It doesn't take anything at all And obviously I've broken these in a lot. This is meant to do this, which is really nice for getting it on and off and allowing the felt to dry. The HISEA doesn't, so I really have to make sure I get it back onto a boot dryer so that way it will dry out. Otherwise, if I just let it sit there, it doesn't get the appropriate air circulation because I can't fold it down. So if you don't own a boot dryer and you think about picking up a pair of HISEAs, strongly recommend picking up a boot dryer anyway. But as you can see here, I mean, it'll come down. And of course, once you get it there, it'll dry out nicely. It's just not as convenient as it is with the mucks. And I know, I'm nitpicking here. But if I didn't have something negative to say, someone in the comments, I'll guarantee there's someone in the comments right now. Oh, they're selling them the boots. Oh, sell out. Just go buy a pair of boots and complain about them on your own YouTube channel. Poo on you. They're a great boot. Deal with it. So like I said, HISEA did send me these boots, and I don't even have a link or a discount code or anything. I'm just making this video out of my own goodwill. I will link the HISEA website where you can get the best prices for their boots down in the description below. I don't make a dime off of any of their sales. So if you want a pair of boots, you want to try it out here for your spring or your gardening or your fishing or whatever, give HISEA a shot. I'm definitely never going to buy an expensive pair of muck boots again. I'm definitely going to spend half the price, if not even over half the price, on the HISEA compared to a muck or lacrosse, because quite frankly, they check every box for me. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions about HISEA boots or any other piece of gear that I use on my channel, follow the links in the description below. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, send me an email, or even leave a comment. And actually, if you have your own personal experience with HISEA or another smaller, lesser known, but yet cheaper and good quality boot company other than lacrosse and muck, leave that down in the description below for other folks so they can see it. I think we could all benefit from saving a few bucks these days in just the wonky world that we live in. Hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery, archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation, and we'll get to see you next time.